Hello, welcome to my office. Today we're going to go over green legatos, the exercise for battery percussion. So this is anybody who's looking at the bass drum, snare drum, tenor drum, tom drum, or cymbal part. Specifically, we're going to isolate the snare drum part and the tom drum part, but this applies for all. So this lesson is kind of broad spectrum for all of us. If you're taking a look at this, there's two main important things that we're working on in this. Number one, for the battery percussion, for letter A of this exercise, we're looking at full strokes or rebound strokes. So all of A is about having the stick move at maximum velocity down, hit the target, and immediately rebound back up to the top of the stroke again. You'll see that the written dynamic in that is fortissimo. So we want to start that stroke at 12 inches, strike the instrument, and then go back to a return height of 12 inches over again. And that would apply for both hands. The only time that you play a different stroke in that exercise or in that variation of the exercise in letter A is when we play a downstroke when we go from the right hand to the left hand or from left hand back to the right hand again. So like this, when we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. On the and of 4, there's a downstroke so that we apply the right hand to stop low and the left hand to take over on the legato strokes or the rebound strokes that happen right after. Okay, so we're going to do a play along with this. A couple of things. Number one, you're going to get 8 and in from the metronome on the MP3, and then we'll drum together. And then there will be 4 counts in between each variation. So from the release, 2, 3, 4, next variation. When we approach B, C, and D, these are our accent tap variations. And these are very, very important because we need to play different stroke types. And actually, B, C, and D use every other stroke type except for rebound strokes and legato strokes. So for example, in letter B and letter C, there's a downstroke, then a tap stroke, or 2 tap strokes, followed by an upstroke. So we have, in letter B, down, tap, tap, up, down, tap, 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 down, tap, tap, up, down, tap, 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 so on and so forth. In letter C, it's a very similar case for us. We have down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, down, tap. In letter D, we don't have any tap strokes. We have all accents, which are downstrokes, and the taps, which happen to be the upstrokes. So in letter D, which is entitled Bucks, we have down, up, 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 down, so on and so forth throughout the rest of the exercise. All right, so let's get started on this. So just a reminder, you're going to have 8 and in off of the metronome for the beginning of the exercise, and then in between each variation, in between letter A, letter B, letter C, and D out to the end, there'll be 4 counts in between each one of those variations. All right, let's get at it. So first off, you want to make sure that your drum pad and everything's set up at the right height. I'll give you a second to go ahead and make sure you got that. You want to make sure that we go through the normal checklist. So sticks in with good technique, then put the sticks out in the center of the drum. Make sure your beads are together. Not all the way touching, but as close as you can get them, and then as close as you can get them to the drum head as well, right? Right in that dead center spot. Cool? All right, let's get started. Here we go. Eight and in, 4 in between. All right, nice job. So when we play the accent tap variation, so letter B, letter C, and letter D, there's two things that are really important about that. Number one, that we are actually adhering to two separate heights, right? Two strict heights. So one being fortissimo, that 12-inch height we talked about earlier. And then the second one being mezzo piano, which is that parallel drum height or that 3-inch drum height off the drum. Okay, so that's super important so we can actually hear the dynamic difference between the accented fortissimo note and the non-accented tap notes at mezzo piano. So that's super important. And then the second thing that's important is to not rush or bring in early the first note that happens after each accent. For example, those are called the taps, by the way. For example, it's super noticeable when we play bucks or variation D. A lot of times you'll hear the rhythms kind of sound swung or too tight together like this. So we need to pause and make more space happen between the accented note and then the non-accented note, the tap note. So when we go down, more space between that and the upstroke. Or if we're in B and C, more space between the downstroke and the tap stroke. Cool? All right, that's it for green legatos. Happy practicing.